You know, I'm still trying to process how people wake up in the morning and be them, how they look themselves in the mirror and carry on their day without setting positive goals. I just keep thinking of day in and day out the things that I be going through about the bullying, the taunting, you know, the setups and everything. And before I started meditating and stuff like that and doing my crystal healing and whatnot, it just makes me realize how far it was that closest family members, friends, people that call you friends and lovers, you know, significant others who were paid to be in my life, they were coerced and bribed to even be in my life. First off, the things that I was going throughout my early, you know, a couple of years ago, before, you know, 2000s and whatnot, I kept trying to figure out why it is I was going through things like anger and aggression, and trying to figure out why it was and what was going on. And when I started realizing it was my environment, that's what made me move to North Carolina, right? Then I started feeling really good and stuff. I started feeling happy and whatnot. I couldn't understand. You know, whenever I would, you know, drink or whatever, and I would start feeling depressed when I was up north. And I kept trying to figure out why that was, because it wasn't normal. Things that were going on with me wasn't normal. Until I realized that my own family was doing witchcraft on me the whole entire time. I kept trying to figure out, why would I be sad if I'm not really feel sad? Why would I be going through this and that if I really didn't exactly feel that way? And I couldn't understand it. Until I started realizing, because what I also started seeing is them sitting there watching me like an audience. Like, you know, you poke the bear and then you try to see what it is, you know, that provokes them and whatnot. And then they would be, you know, if I was upset about something or, you know, spazzed out or whatever, they were actually sitting there smiling at me and things. I could just feel them smiling at me from behind. So all this time, are you telling me that they were setting things up for me to lose out on being happy? All this stuff, they worked so hard for me not to be happy. Because I'm still seeing it without them being in the scenes, but being in the scenes. Through all these people, the influence. This is the things that they were doing. And then I didn't realize why it was that things were happening to them as a backlash. And I wasn't even doing any protection spells or even calling on the Most High like that. Like, I would pray and ask for help, but I wasn't doing like crystal healing and protection and cleansing my energy. Once I started doing that, I started really seeing things hit for them. Then that's when they stopped and they moved away. But that's funny. Right after that, that's when they got other people involved to do their dirty work. That's crazy. That is evil. For you to get other people to do your dirty work. When I had changed my diet and stuff, and started really meditating and doing crystal healing and stuff, which that's what I'm doing now. God knows where I would have been if it was like how it was back then when they were smiling and recording me behind the scenes, which I felt but couldn't see. They were provoking me and then doing stuff to me. And these are family members. They did all this because they didn't want me happy. They did all this because they didn't want me to succeed in anything. It seems like every time that I had made some kind of goal, you know, credit or whatever, and then it would be when I said something to them, that's when things would start messing up again. And I'd be like, Dad, I worked so hard to do this and do that. How is it that this happened, that this fell apart? Start looking at your circle when that happens for you. For you to know and seek out my divine counterpart and seek to destroy them too, just because you didn't want to see neither one of us happy, that's nobody but the devil. And it's amazing who it is that allows the devil into their life. And the main ones were religious people. That blows my mind. When you should be seeking God. You should be teaching God. You should be teaching others about loving and caring about each other. And building people up, not tearing them down.